Hello and welcome back to some more PSGL highlights. Today we're in Monaco for a personal favourite of mine, and hopefully we get a good result coming off the back of France, which is obviously quite a mess. But we jump straight into quali then, and as you can see, traffic already is an issue just before we've even started our first run. And that's definitely going to be a theme of this very messy qualifying session, to say the least. But yeah, as I said, Monaco is a very good track for me, and you can see now this is what I do on my first run. The front tyres are really, really cold, so I'm not sure what was going on there, but due to the traffic. But yeah, that was pretty much our first run scrapped, and our second run is going to start now, as you'll see in the background. But yeah, a good track for me, and I think anything towards like a 0.5 or 0.4 on the actual thing I'd take, because obviously this was a little bit more sketchy than the real thing. We've got Darrow on the inside there, which I can't lie, he wasn't blocking me, but he was very distracting and completely ruins me. And then we've got Christmas here, who's just a bit of his end plate, and yeah, there could be a bit of a better place to get out of the way there. As you can see, I nearly hit him actually, coming out of Rascas, I think that is. So we backed off that, so that's 2 laps down the drain now. We're going to do another lap on the exact same set of tyres, so this is going to be a slightly worn tyre lap, which is definitely not ideal, but going to turn 1 then, and it's very easy to cut that or to run wide, and you can actually gain quite a lot of time through there, which is quite surprising. But this time we don't have anyone up the inside coming into the casino section, so Delta goes green, decent enough first set, not perfect, but it's a mid-9, so I'll take it. Slightly deep into Rascas, I think. No, I don't know what the corner's called actually. Into the hairpin, very deep on the brakes, and that's ruined our middle sector slightly, but as long as you can get a decent banker in, I'm not too fussed. Coming down the tunnel section now, the Novo chicane next. This is a very difficult corner because of the way you have to take on this game, you can cut it quite a lot and you can gain a ridiculous amount of time to get it right. That was pretty good. It wasn't perfect, but it was decent. To back, very, very fast corner. You just got to try and keep it out of the wall. We're actually purple in the middle, but I'm not sure how true that is. Coming through the swimming pool, that is also a very tricky corner to keep the rear end in check, but Sparks does a 0.5, which is very, very good for his second run, I think it was. We're going to come to the line now. It's not, it's not an amazing lap, but it's not awful. It's 7.6, so that's definitely something to work on, considering we've got, 2 runs left, sorry, and that was on 1 tyres as well. So this is our third run, and you can see we're a 10th up now, coming through these 2 right-hand corners, and I think on the exit here, we're nearly 2 tenths up on the exit. We get a decent exit. So this is looking towards, a low 0.5, maybe even a 0.4 if we can get this perfect. But coming into this very tricky chicane, as I said, take a little bit too much curve. We broke a little bit early actually and didn't carry enough speed in. That's invalidated us, and unfortunately that is going to be it for that lap. So annoyingly, it's going to come down to one final run then, especially around the track like Monaco. We don't really want to be leaving it to the end. But here we go then, on to our final run. We're in P6 at the moment, so we need to pull a good lap out here. Absolutely flinging it through turn 1. It was better than our previous one, but not amazing. We've got Casper on the inside, gets out of the way nicely. A little bit wide there, and we turn in quite early here, and that's just that's our lap ruined. So yeah, that's our completely messy qualifying session. And you can think when we finish the session, we dropped down to about P7. It is. Yeah, I'm surprised that a 7.6, a high 7.6 was a P7, but we'll take it. A long way off what we should really be doing, but we'll have to try and deal with what we've got from P7. We've got Sparks in front of us who had a grid penalty. He was on pole, so it's not a great qualifying for the Haas team so far, but you never know what's going to happen. It's Monaco at the end of the day. The strategy is going to be soft medium. You can basically undercut for the mediums and then just drive really slow because no one can overtake you, because that's just the nature of this track. But we're going to build up to the 4 to the 5 lights now, and as they go out now, after a fairly long wait, we get a pretty average start compared to everyone else. Vasta has quite a poor start. We've got Sousa around our outside, and we're going to get pinned in by Vasta here. Sousa quite a lot of space around the outside. Just actually get ahead of us briefly, but I don't know if he deployed overtake or anything up this hill, so we managed to get back ahead of him, which is quite crucial for our track position. We obviously don't know how quick everyone's going to be, so it's nice to get as hard as possible straight away. But yeah, and now you're just going to see the traditional Monaco hairpin on the first lap. Look how slow everyone's going. It's just, you just got to not hit anyone. We're basically stopped on the apex of that corner. We've got a safety car now, as there was some contact behind, and that definitely throws up a bit of a spanner in the works. Me and Sparks sort of thought about this situation beforehand and sort of figured that the best thing to do would probably go onto the hards and go all the way to the end because you're basically getting a free pit stop. But that could work or could not work depending. I mean, if the leaders can pull the gap, then obviously staying out is definitely possible. And if you drop to the back on the hards, then you're going to struggle. But as you'll see in a minute, our decision, I've got quite a big gap to Sparks in front because my decision was to pit for the hard tyre. I mean, at this point, to be fair, I was still thinking whether to or not. But as you can see, we put box this lap and we're going to go for it and take the bold strategy. But it does mean we're going to have to stack behind Sparks, so that's definitely not ideal and probably going to get jumped by the likes of Suso behind us. But we'll see. I think I did not really leave enough of a gap, to be fair, as we're going to get held here. It's going to be quite a long pit stop, but thankfully under the safety car, I mean, there's a lot of damage behind as well, so we're not going to lose massively. Suso goes past now, and we're actually going to come out in P12, which surprisingly isn't too bad actually. I was expecting to be a lot further down, and from P12 we can definitely probably stick with, if we stick with the front running train, then I think it could go quite well. Another important point is Suso in front. He's on the medium tyres, which is quite interesting. I was pretty much convinced that they weren't going to go to the end, but we'll see what happens with him. And now we come on to the restart. The tyre's very, very cold at the start, and you can see how slow everyone's going for this restart. So the aim now is to just stick onto the back of this train and hope we can undercut effectively the leaders and get ahead of them, because even though we're on the hards, a really slow race tyre, they shouldn't be able to pass us just purely because it's impossible to pass around here. But yeah, we restart, and I don't know if you noticed at the start, but we had a little bit of a lag, which was not ideal, but hopefully that fixed itself throughout the race. But yeah, from now on, it's pretty much just a standard Monaco train. We shouldn't really get overtaken, and we shouldn't really be doing any overtaking, so it's all going to come down to the strategy. As you can see again, once everyone's bunched up, like how slow everyone goes around the chicanes and stuff and the hairpin. So yeah, we're definitely going to get past Suso, given the fact that he's on the medium tyres as well, which obviously gives him quite a big advantage. But we skip all the way to lap 8, and we have the first of the people that didn't pit coming into the pits, and you can see the Ferrari behind that's in the pit lane. Look how far behind he's come out. So they've really, really lost out from this, and I think over the next few laps we're going to have quite a lot more of the soft runners pitting, and yeah, I think it becomes quite apparent what was the right strategy to do here. We'll come on to lap 10 now. So we're going green in the middle sector, and at this point we're definitely going quicker than the leaders are on the softs. So again, I think that was Matthias in the pits in the Alfa Romeo, and look at how far he's effectively jumped to the back of the grid. And again, lap 11 now, we've got the remaining of the soft runners into the pits, Jordan and Thyman, and again you can just see how far down they've dropped. So we're up into P6 now, which is already better than our starting position, but I think there's 3 or so cars on the medium tyres who have not pit yet either. So again, it's going very well, and we were thinking in the party at this point, if this goes really well, we could go for a 1-3 at least here, depending on what Suso does. So that's definitely working well so far, but as you can see at lap 17 now, it's going to start to get a little bit more interesting and a bit more challenging as we turn into the swimming pool, turned a bit early, and we have broken our wing. And yeah, at that point, when you get that really sinking feeling, and you've just completely thrown your race away. Yeah, that's what I had then, and already look, the gap's gone up to 9/10, and I was just pretty sure that I was just going to get overtaken or probably damage the front wing more and lose some more positions. So, but we do try and stick with it. The train, surprisingly, we did manage to just about hold on. I definitely had to push a lot more, and you can see the traction with the damage. We've just not quite got the traction or the grip. And I think the worst bit was probably around this hairpin. You can see that you have so much understeer at slow speed. I'm not sure how that works, because you'd think it'd be high speed, you'd lose out, but skip all the way to lap 28 now, and the final of the medium runners, the people that start on the mediums, are going to come into the pits. So now up to effective P3, and we did manage to stick with Suso and Sparks, even with the damage because of the slow running medium runners. But as you'll see over the next few laps, this definitely does not continue. Now that they've got clean air, they'll definitely pull away. And we'll skip lap 32 now, just 2-3 laps later, and Suso's put a 1.5 second gap, and now we've got to start looking behind us to defend and make sure Waters doesn't get through. I can see Sparks in front of 4.6 seconds he's pulled in a very, very short space of time. I mean, I don't want to guess how much this front wing's losing me, but I'd say it's probably over half a second a lap. Considering that Sparks probably pulled like 2 seconds or so in like the relapse, so yeah, it's a lot of time, but it's Monaco, so there could be worse places to have damage. And lap 36, so we've skipped quite a long way into this race, and Suso's tyres, as expected on the mediums, have completely gone, which is somewhat helping me because it's allowed us back into the DRS, and we should be able to defend slightly better behind. But at the same time, I was actually fancying my chances a little bit on trying to take P2 here, even with the damage, just to manage to stick on the track. But yeah, I've done some medium runnings in practice, and I know for a fact that for the last few laps they are completely dead, and I'm not entirely sure how he is still going, considering he pitted lap 1. I know with the safety car, but yeah, he's done a very, very good job to keep it on the track. My aim over these last 3 laps pretty much was to just try make him push, try make him fall into a mistake. I know the traction's not brilliant on those tyres once they wear, and you can see our wear there, 63%, so I cannot imagine the wear Suso's possibly on those medium tyres. But yeah, fair play to him. He's definitely kept the gap, and in these last 2.5 laps now, we're just going to keep pushing and try and see if we can, force him into using the DRS, force him to push a little bit more, make a few more mistakes. And if we can force him to get really low on ERS, I think that's the only possible chance we'll have at passing him. So we'll have a look down this back straight and see what his light in the back of his car is doing. It's not flashing, so he's definitely got a bit in reserve. If that light starts to flash, that does mean he's below 10% ERS. So we need to try and get him into that range to have any chance of overtaking. But you see here, Waters is going to go for a move. He was definitely getting a little bit impatient behind us because of the slow pace, but we do just about manage to hold him off, and he gets getting a little bit more frantic now in these last few laps. Everyone sort of realising where they are and wanting to gain the position. So yeah, that sort of gave me a little bit of a hurry up as well. We need to try and get past Sue. So you can see the gap to Sparks in front. I mean, he's just flown away with this now because of Suso's tyres. And yeah, I mean, I don't know even with the damage if I'd managed to get past at this point, to be honest. I think it's very, very difficult to pass regardless. But we'll see. We've got 1.5 laps remaining now to try and make a move. We're going to go front to back, and you can just see the understeer we have with this broken front wing. It's absolutely terrible. I mean, through the swimming pool here, surprisingly wasn't too bad because, if anything, it made the rear end a little bit more stable to push with. But you see, we get very close now, coming on to this final lap, and we're so close. We turned in a little bit early there. I think that's probably ruined our run as this back straight, but you can see now Suso's light is flashing, and we're going to take this opportunity. We know he's got no ERS to play with at all, and we're going to burn ours out of the first corner. We are quite close here. Suso's parked in the middle of the road, and we don't really know where to go, and that's probably a missed opportunity, but it's such a risk to try and make a move there. I didn't know whether to dart to the inside, if he'd pulled to the inside and both be in the wall. So that's probably a missed opportunity, but at the same time, it's not really something you want to wish when you're in a podium position. When you're in a podium position. So we are going through the last, half a lap now, and I think probably the most of our overtaking opportunities are probably gone now. We're going to burn the rest of our ERS down this back straight. Suso's light's flashing, but so is ours, to be fair. And coming into this very last half of the lap now, there's not really any overtaking opportunities available unless Suso gets a puncture or makes a massive mistake. And I don't think that's going to happen. But at the same time, we are pretty secure on this P3 now. We're going to fling it through this final chicane on the last lap just to see if we can close up at all. We see we close up a lot on the brakes, but Suso's done a great job holding on to those medium tyres, in fairness. Sparks is going to win this race by an absolute mile, but we're going to come home in P3, which, after the qualifying position, I can definitely take P7 to P3. I think the strategy from both the Haas team, and obviously Suso as well, and I think Waters behind. All 4 of us did the soft and too hard on the first lap, or medium, and yeah, that you can see that was definitely the winning strategy, and it pretty much played out perfectly. Couldn't really ask for much more than P3. I mean, you could say looking at this race, I needed one more position in qualifying, and I could effectively have been leading the race, but yeah, it is what it is, and hindsight's great, and you can think what could have been, but yeah. I'm still amazed I'm still getting these results, to be honest. I mean, every race so far that I've done in this season. Out of the 5 races, I've been fighting on the podium every single race, which is great. Well, apart from Belgium, which is crazy. So yeah, it's a good result for Haas as well, extending our championship lead. And I think I'm about 5th now in the drivers, so that's definitely something we can work towards. And to be fair, probably challenge a little bit higher up. I mean, if we get these better results, keep getting these good results in. So we'll see. I'm going to stop rambling now, and I'm just going to end the highlights here. So thank you very much for watching them, and I hope you enjoyed. I know it's Monaco, it's a bit boring, but try and drag them out as much as I possibly can. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.